I'm thinking in a nice little quiet smoky club in Paris around 1930, and all of the problems that are on its way. So anyway, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Hudson Valley Hot Club.
All of me, why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Won't you take my lips, I wanna lose them. Won't you take my arms, I'll never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, my dear, without you? When you took the part that once was my heart, why not take all of me? Why not take all of me? Oh, can't you see I'm just no good without you? Won't you take my lips, I wanna lose them. Won't you take my arms, I'll never use them. 'Cause your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, my dear, without you? When you took the part that once was my heart, why not take all of me? Yes, 'cause you took the part that once was my heart, why not take all of me? Thank you very much. Thank you. That was, of course, the old favorite, All of Me, one of the great American early jazz tunes, and but done in not a non-traditional American jazz instrumentation, which is to say, when we think of American jazz, the early days, it's all brass instruments and pianos out of New Orleans primarily, and then from thence to the rest of the world. If you saw a picked instrument at all, it might be a banjo, so it would be loud enough to be heard on those early recordings. But by the time they started hearing those early recordings in Europe, about a decade later, it was being adapted by European musicians onto these stringed instruments. And in particular, we are here to celebrate the music of one Django Rheinhardt and Stefon Grapelli, who famously played in a combo they put together, the Quintet of the Hot Club of France, one of the most unpoetic names ever. But a hot club was a jazz fans, social group. They would share recordings, they would type up newsletters, they would promote concerts, and they adopted this Romani guitarist named Django Reinhardt and French-born fiddler Stefon Grapelli to form a quintet for their hot club there in France. This music is often referred to as gypsy jazz. That term is a controversial one. Less so I find in America, and also among those I've met who are of Romani descent, they tend to embrace the term, at least where I've encountered them, which is mostly in the US. But in Europe, it has a long and ugly legacy as a term of derision. So I will occasionally slip into that term, but the Romani people come in many, sort of have multiple subgroups, and the ones in France are generally known as the Manouche clan or tribe or family, and that was the lineage for Django Reinhardt himself. So you'll also find this referred to as jazz Manouche. And because the Romani migrated originally from India across Central Asia into Eastern Europe and across and around the Mediterranean, there are many musical traditions that get picked up and repurposed along the way. So we want to take you now to Central Europe in mid-19th century. A wonderful tune known in Russian as Ochichonya, among the French as Les Yeux Noirs, or here we call it Dark Eyes. That's our wonderful dear friend and collaborator here, close collaborator, David Chernak on the fiddle. This kind of traditional folk music of Europe, and also kind of the dance hall musics, the waltzes, the polskas, and other kind of bourrées, various dances of Europe, blended also with a love and fascination with American jazz and blues. And we want to play for you now another favorite of Django and the Hot Clubs, one of the earliest written and recorded blues by the ostensible father of the blues, W.C. Handy. But long before he was the father of blues, he was a dance band leader, and the blues were kind of the new radical thing. What was really popular broadly was rumba, Latin rhythms, the rumba especially, and the habanero rhythm of Cuba. So in the famous St. Louis Blues, which we're about to do, recorded by Bessie Smith with Louis Armstrong on trumpet, so many great recordings, he actually kind of hides the 12-bar blues inside of a rumba rhythm tune. So it's sort of a mashup, one of the earliest mashups, 1917, I believe. One, two, three, like a Kentucky colonel loves his mint and rye. You know I love my band till the day I die. This next tune is another non-standard blues where we haven't quite gotten to the pop. You know, you can't have jazz without blues. There is jazz that isn't blues. This is called Limehouse Blues. It's a very misleading term. It's actually kind of the first song, ostensible jazz song written in Britain. And it's about the Limehouse region of London, which is not a traditional. I guess the lime kilns were a hard place to work in London. But nonetheless, the original lyrics are sort of obscure and not very compelling. A few years back, I was intrigued to write some lyrics that would be a little more evocative of the time period, which is 1921, when this song was first written. So these are some original lyrics I set to the Limehouse Blues. It is on the Long Steel Rail CD, which is available for sale over at the end of the circulation desk, if you want to ask me more about that later. But right now, we want to take you to that Limehouse. Last 58. Shortest.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Well, come take a ride to the Limehouse with me. We'll bounce along to that sweet melody, forgetting our troubles and all of our cares, knowing that all of the gang will be there. Big cars and guitars and hot violins. Chances are dancers are crowding right in, shaking the walls as they kick off their shoes, swinging to the Limehouse Blues. Well, 3 knocks at the door and they'll usher you in. Jack's in the back with a tub full of gin. Just slip the doorman $1 or 2. They'll make sure all of your friends can get through. There's those high-rolling lowlifes, they're having a time. Those lowball and good timers dressed to the nines. Even the deacon who just heard the news, he's dancing to the Limehouse Blues. Filling the air, cocktails and coattails are spread everywhere. Sweet Luke Johnson, he's been playing all night, making sure everyone is feeling alright. There's a raid on the joint, all those boys from downtown. Even Sergeant Murphy calls for one more round. All the party hollers, we got nothing to lose. There's one more chorus of the Limehouse Blues. very much. The Limehouse Blues. All right. So far, I think everything we've played so far is something you would find, you could find recordings of Django Reinhardt and the Hot Club having played. I can't swear whether they did this one, although I'd be surprised if they didn't. This one is was written by Duke Ellington, actually by his trombone player Juan Tizol. It's credited as a Duke Ellington Orchestra song. It's from the songbook, and it's called Caravan. And this is something they would have played at the Cotton Club up in Harlem. And you see the taste for these kind of exotic, foreign sounds and imagery was rife on both sides of the Atlantic. So, from 1936, we have Duke Ellington's Caravan. Indeed. That was Luke Johnson on guitar and David Turnak on bass. The next one is by the great Fats Waller, along with Louis Armstrong, to my mind, the twin titans of the early jazz era. But this is one that the Hot Club famously kind of retooled a little bit. There's a distinct difference between the way it's played in trad jazz circles and in the jazz manouche circles. If you're influenced by Django Rheinhardt, you're going to hear these a unique intro and a unique outro that is completely standard in one field but not another. So there's always these interesting subgroups. A friend of mine calls the sociology of musical culture. So this is Honeysuckle Rose. Well, every honeybee feels the jealousy when they see you out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose. And those flowers droop inside when you're passing by, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows, you're my honeysuckle rose. I don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's sweet when you stir it up, and on the avenue people look at you, and I know just why they do, 'cause you're much sweeter than the snow. You're my honeysuckle rose. Well, every honeybee feels the jealousy when they see you out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows, you're my honeysuckle rose. And the flowers droop inside when you're passing by, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows, you're my honeysuckle rose. You know I do not buy sugar, no. You just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's sweet when you stir it up, and when I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, you know the honey fairly drips. Your confection, goodness knows, you're my honeysuckle rose. So now I will take you to a song, I guess codified in 1932, but really became a hit in 1937 for a group that until then had really done nothing. But then they became the biggest pop stars in the country. These lyrics were misunderstood because they were, the lyric was a Yiddish lyric, so not exactly Romani, but again, this kind of Central European amalgam languages that have a lot of European vocabulary mixed in. And this one was sometimes misunderstood as buy a beer, Mr. Shine, or my mere bits of shame, apparently is another misunderstood version of this. But it was a mega hit for the Andrews Sisters, and it's called By Mir Bist Du Schön. Of all the gals I've known, and I've known some, till I first met you, I was lonesome. And when you came in sight, dear, my heart grew light, and this old world seemed new to me. You're really swell, I have to admit you deserve expressions that really fit you. And so I've racked my brain, hoping to explain all the things that you do to me. By mir bist du schön, please let me explain. By mir bist du schön means that you're grand. By mir bist du schön, again I will explain. It means you're the fairest in the land. I could say Bella, Bella, even sehr wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how grand you are. I've tried to explain. By mir bist du schön, so kiss me and say you'll understand. That your friend, by mir bist du schön. Again I will explain. It means you're the fairest in the land. I could say Bella, Bella, even sehr wunderbar. Each language only helps me tell you how great you are. I've tried to explain. By mir bist du schön. You kiss me, say you understand. Yeah, so kiss me and say you'll understand. So kiss me and say you'll understand. right, this next one was probably Django's biggest hit. It was written in 1940, and it became almost an alternative national anthem for the French during Nazi occupation. So when war broke out in September of '39, the Hot Club was actually on tour in London, and Grapelli, the Frenchman, decided to stay in London. Django, I think in order to be back with his family and make sure everyone was safe, headed back to France, in Paris, and almost ironically, it was among his most productive periods, because Paris was sort of this rest and relaxation area for the to send Nazi officers to enjoy themselves. There was sort of a blind eye turned to a certain amount of jazz music and other things that might have otherwise been strictly forbidden elsewhere. But what was strictly forbidden for sure was La Marseillaise, the French national anthem. But this next tune, which Django writes, has some of this beautiful heartbreak in it that really appealed, and so it was one of his best-selling records and holds a special place in the French heart. It's called Nuage. Nuage. Next, moving forward in time, we've been roughly traveling chronologically forward. 1942, we have a song appropriately entitled Swing 42. And this is basically a Gershwin tune with a fresh melody on it. This is a thing that jazz musicians have done pretty much from the beginning. Take a pre-existing set of changes, a chord progression, and lay a new melody on top. This is probably the most important and famous chord progression in all of jazz other than the 12-bar blues. These are the changes to I Got Rhythm. So they're called rhythm changes. So the fancy word for a new melody to an old set of changes is a contrafact. And that is a fact. So you can take that to the bank and impress the tellers with your musical knowledge. Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let me just double check my tuning as well. Yeah, there's an offender. What tempo you guys like? You tell me. One, two, three. stuff. Those of you who are jazz aficionados might notice that in that particular composition, the kind of fairly complex melodic head played in unison is evocative of development that's happening in jazz around the same time that we now know as bebop. And and in fact, Django was very interested in bebop after the war. He wanted to really get into it more, and was excited to come over to America, where he did encounter a lot of the American musicians in situ, as it were. Anyway, this next tune is another very early standard, I think early 20th century. But that was a favorite of jazz players, including one of Louis Armstrong's favorites. The Hot Club did it, and then it was taken again. We have another contrafact for you, true contrafact. That this same set of chords was used then by Charlie Parker, or perhaps Miles Davis. He makes a claim. It's for a song that the melody of which is known as Donna Lee. So you're going to get to hear first the original Back Home Again in Indiana, and then in Luke's solo, he's going to start by playing you the Donna Lee, Charlie Parker contrafact before launching further into his solo. So I'm going to defer to you for the tempo and get my head together for the last 8. 1, 2, 1, 2. Back home again in Indiana, and it seems that I can see the gleaming candlelight still shining bright o'er the sycamores for me. The new mown hay sends all its fragrance to the fields I used to roam. And I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, and I think of my Indiana home. Yes, when I dream about the moonlight on the very much. All right, we take you now beyond the edge of the earth. We are now in the land beyond. Django Rheinhardt died tragically young at the age of only 43 back in 1953. But his legacy and his old partner, Stefon Grapelli, lived on. And the influence persists, obviously, to this day, but in some interesting ways. Grapelli, I learned, was actually 12 years older than Django as well, but lived until, I think, the 1990s. Wow. And one of the people who was especially taken with this hot club music was a great mandolin player by the name of David Grisman, known by his nickname of Dog. And he created, or spearheaded a genre kind of known as dog music, that in some ways is a blend of the bluegrass and this kind of hot club swing, this hot swing. This is from the from the David Grisman Quintet album, and of course, a standard bluegrass quintet is the same number of instruments as you would have had in the quintet of the Hot Club of France, so I think that was part of the inspiration. The very next album was called Hot Dog, I think in tribute to the hot swing, and Stefon Grapelli guests on that next album. So Grapelli was already on his radar. They ended up being collaborators for many years on many albums. In fact, this next tune is called EMD. We believe it means Eat My Dust. But also on that album is a tune called Swing 51, and there's actually an outtake where they did minor swing as well. So clearly Grisman was deep into his Django music. We're going to do Grisman's EMD.
I'll also mention I went up to Albany last night to the Egg and saw Sam Grisman with the Sam Grisman Project, David Grisman's son, and he was playing this really great band, as well as Pete Rowan, who played with David Grisman and Jerry Garcia for many years in a group called Old and in the Way. And they did this song much to our delight as we were there.
Wonderful.
So fresh in the fingers. I don't think I can do it near as good, but
We'll do it our way.
Yeah.
Performed for you today by the Hudson Valley Hot Club. You can follow us on Facebook. You can.
I didn't know.
We're called the Hudson Valley Hot Club. You should follow us.
Oh, okay.
I can tag you.
What's the band called again?
It's called the Hudson Valley Hot Club.
And where can people find us?
On Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah. Indeed.
I know it.
And you can follow us personally. Well, you can follow me personally, Eric Marshall, on Facebook, and that's a good way to know what else is happening musically. I always put these events on. We all play in various configurations with different groups, so it pays to follow us all because there's so much music happening around the Hudson Valley. This is one of the favorite things we do, is this hot jazz. This next tune is an original of mine written in the old jazz standard way, I hope. And appropriately, it looks back and is called Just Yesterday. Bring us in. 1, 2, 4. Thinking of you, thinking of me, thinking how true we both used to be, carefree and gay, till we lost the way just yesterday. For all of time we made that vow, you would be mine, that's all over now. How hollow the ring, I lost everything just yesterday. Yes, we borrowed something blue, new and old, when we were young and green. Tomorrow we knew was glittering gold. How could we have foreseen all the words that we said, ways we went wrong? Who can even keep track? The list is too long. If I could take back just one little thing, just yesterday. both used to be carefree and gay, till we lost the way just yesterday. For all the time we made that vow, you would be mine, that's all over now. How hollow the rain, I lost everything just yesterday. You know we borrowed something blue, new and old, when we were young and green. Tomorrow we knew was glittering gold. How could we have foreseen all the words that we said, ways we went wrong? Who can even keep track? The list is too long. If I could take back just one little thing, just yesterday, all the words that we said, the ways we went wrong, can even keep track. The list is too long. If I could take back just one little thing, just yesterday. Very much. All right, I think we have time for maybe a couple more tunes here. I want to bring you as far into the present. I suppose technically that is our most contemporary song. This is by a modern day Romani, a wonderful musician, guitarist, and fiddler, and songwriter. He did the soundtrack for a movie called Lotrodrome, which I encourage you to seek out. It is available through the Mid-Hudson Library Services. I know because it's on the way to my house. And it's sort of an impressionistic history of the Romani people. The soundtrack was done by this man, Dorado Schmidt, who is part of a great musical family. And this one is, while it's called Bossa Dorado, it's really more of a gypsy rumba. But it's a living tradition. He plays with his sons. We saw his son Samson Schmidt at the in Beacon.
Right.
At the name of the place.
Town crier.
Thank you, the town crier. And Samson Schmidt, the son of Dorado Schmidt, and was also they played with Babik Rheinhardt, not where we saw them, but I know they do play together. Babik being the son of Django Rheinhardt. So it's multi-generations. It is really very much a family and oral and cultural tradition that is largely passed down through the lineage. So this is a favorite of ours called Bossa Dorado. Okay. I don't think that.
That's a little fast.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. That's good. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm sorry. Point of privilege. I'm all my failures. Let me get into the right key, and I'll join you there. My parents were not Romani. All right. I'm ready for it. Thank you.
And then right here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Very much. We're so glad you all came out on this wonderfully warm winter day or chilly spring day or whatever it is. It was sunny and flurries when I drove over, so. But it's there's nothing more joyful than to share music with others. So, thank you again. We are the Hudson Valley Hot Club. I want to take one more time to introduce Luke Johnson on guitar. We have David Chernak on fiddle and mandolin. I'm Eric Marshall on guitar and vocals. I want to make sure to thank the Millbrook Free Library and Millbrook Arts Group for sponsoring this wonderful concert series. Brings us all out together. And we're going to close. We're going to take you back to 100 years ago to when this song was written. But it's a perennial favorite, certainly one of ours, and one of Django's, and it ain't just for basketball. One, two, three, four. No gal made has got a shade on, sweet Georgia Brown. Two left feet and oh so neat has sweet Georgia Brown. They all sigh, wanna die for sweet Georgia Brown. I'll tell you why. You know I don't lie too much. It's been said she knocks me dead when she lands in town. Since she came, why it's a shame how she cools them down. Fellas that she ain't met, just fellas that she ain't get. Georgia named her, Georgia claimed her, sweet Georgia Brown. their feet, and also neat sweet Georgia Brown. They all sigh, all die for sweet Georgia Brown, and I'll tell you why. You know I don't lie, not that much. All those gifts those quarters bring to sweet Georgia Brown. They buy clothes at fashion shows with just $1 down. Oh boy, tip your hat. Oh joy, she's the cat. Georgia named her, Georgia claimed her, sweet Georgia Brown. Well, who's that Mr. Taylor sister, sweet Georgia Brown? Yeah, Georgia named her, Georgia claimed her, sweet. I said she's oh so sweet, that Georgia Brown.
Hudson Valley Hot Club! Well deserved.
We got the high sign now that everyone's had a chance to stretch their legs. And, not everyone's bolting for the one facility available in the basement. We're delighted to do one more song for you. This is, we would be remiss if we didn't play it, so we're glad you want to hear it. It is pretty much the national anthem of the hot jazz, hot club community. It was written, of course, by Django Rheinhardt in the year of 1937, and it is called Minor Swing. And in honor of Django, we will check our tuning. Thank you again, Django Reinhardt. If you have not heard the Hot Club, the quintet of the Hot Club of France, please go check out those wonderful CDs, those wonderful albums. They've been compiled so many different ways, and to know that it is a growing genre. It's kind of having a great revival and renaissance all around the globe, all around the country, and all around the region. So if you like what you hear, stay in contact with us and see what else you can find. We'll point you in the right direction.